Hello, Afterthought here. Recently, in my personal life, there's been, in many different aspects of my personal life, there's been a reoccurring theme that has made me think about personal, geopolitical, spiritual structures of how people behave, act towards one another, and the reasons why. And a great deal of what people may notice about my philosophy is it does have a tendency to be pessimistic, and I always have a tendency to come back to the pessimistic, and I think it's important to be pessimistic. Not that the world is headed towards doom and gloom, but I think there's a great deal of negativity within the human psyche that it needs to be dealt with, or we're going to push everything over the brink. And I think there are a few key aspects to that negativity that need to be dealt with that people don't deal with. And I'm going to make an attempt in the next few videos. I'm going to try to philosophize it, try to analyze it, come to some viewpoint, some conclusion. But the bottom line, I think, is that fear is the most dominant emotion of mankind. Not hope, not love, not compassion. I think it's fear. I think we realize fear is dangerous, so we combat fear with hope, love, and compassion, but I still think fear is still the dominant emotion. And of course, one may say, well, the reason why we fear is because we have something to lose. True. But I think what we're most afraid of losing is that which we've never had. You can't let go of something unless you possess it. And we're also afraid that if this person possesses something, then it won't be around for me to possess. And it develops this spirit of competition, or supposedly the spirit of competition. I don't think there's such a thing as competition. I think you either work with others or you don't. Um, I that's for another video. But in this video, I'm looking at those aspects of why we fear, and I agree with the expression, fear and God do not occupy the same space. I think that's why we're always seeking God, because we're afraid. Fear and God do not occupy the same space. They just don't. And I think that's going to be, it's not going to be, I think that's the reason why we have this repeating cycle of growth, destruction, rebirth. It's a cycle. I think it can be broken. It can be broken in the sense that we can, instead of letting the cycle govern us, we can govern the cycle, willingly destroy something in order to transform, instead of letting the cycle catch up with us and us being destroyed in it before we're reborn. But we can only do that if we conquer our fears. And I think there's a very big threatening aspect to someone who overcomes their fear. Like when somebody has a personal problem. If somebody has a real serious personal problem, I've noticed that the general attitude is pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And you're just going to have to do it on your own. Or if somebody's problem is so severe that's a threat to other people, just lock them away or throw them away. I think the reason for this is that in order to help somebody who has a severe problem, you have to put yourself at risk as well. Whether politically, socially, personally, emotionally, you have to put that risk into it. Now, it's easy to help somebody and look the victim when the person you're helping fails, and call yourself a victim. Look, I tried, nobody else tried. Look at me. I was the noble hero. I mean, to me, that's the same attitude of the fireman who sets fire to a house so he can rush in and save everybody in it. No. You have to, there's good intentions and then there's true intentions. That gets into altruism, which I don't think there is such a thing as altruism. There is some sort of personal connection to what this means to you. I don't think you can have altruism. I think altruism is a dangerous concept. At the end, it has to reflect on yourself. It's not selfish. Self-love is not a vile sin as self-neglecting, as Billy Rattlestick once said in Henry V. But when somebody has a serious problem, they're often encouraged to deal with it themselves. Now, should this person actually deal with it themselves, and they put themselves on their feet, there's now the paranoia of, well, wait a minute, my plan was to just tell them to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but they actually did it. Now, if I go ahead and take credit for it, this person is most likely to point out to me that, well, you didn't do anything except just yell at me to do something. And I'll look like the hypocrite, or trying to take credit for that person's action. So now I have to take care of them retroactively so I can look good. Because I noticed that people that do put themselves on their feet, that's when the social workers and the personal experts and the self-help gurus and everybody comes out of the woodwork to say, I'm here to help you now. Now that you've made the first steps, and the person's already made the first step says, if you were willing to help me, you would help me make the first steps. I made the first steps on my own. I really don't want your help because you're most likely to screw everything up for me. You weren't willing to go through hell with me. I very seriously doubt you're going to go through hell with me now. It's my troubles, they're my problems. It's my goals, they're my personal achievements. If I want help, I'll ask for it. And when I do ask for help, it's not going to be from you. So we get into this duel between doing the right thing and doing the thing for personal image. And I see it happen a lot. If somebody's down and out and they really need help, they're ignored. Why? That person's a problem. If I try to help them, I'm going to get hurt in the process, and I'm going to be told, see, you should never have attempted it. You made things worse. Where if somebody's putting themselves on their feet, it's, well, I can help this person, or I can shut them up before they point out the fact that I'm a fraud. Now, this seems to be a very cynical, very bitter, very nasty point of view to have, but it's something that I see happen a lot. After 5, 001 here.